Hello everyone, and welcome back for this lecture. So today's topic of our presentation or our lecture is design of conveying system. So in the conveying system, previously we have seen the design of EOT crane. Now from this lecture, we will start the design of belt conveyor. So let's see. Basically, we will see first the theory, and after that we will discuss the design. But in this lecture, today's lecture, we will discuss the theory related to belt conveyor design. Okay, I know everyone is aware about the belt conveyor. Normally we have seen these belt conveyor in sugar factories, or nowadays these are normally used in a manufacturing factory, where the material low, or you can say medium weighted materials can be transferred from one point to another point. Okay, let's see. So basically belt conveyor consists of two or more pulleys with a endless loop of carrying medium called as a conveyor belt, which rotates about them. On the both of the pulleys are powered. It could be moves in both direction. Okay, so moving the belt and the material on the belt in a forward direction. uh, there is a two ways. It could be both pulleys can be power driven, or only one pulley can be power driven. If both pulleys are power driven, then there is you can transmit the material from forward motion as well as in a backward motion. Okay, so the powered pulley is called as a driving pulley, while the unpowered pulley is normally called as a idle pulley. So there are number of pulleys are used. Every pulley having their different constraint and different application, or you can say they have their own different function. Based on that, they are used. So in industry point of view, we have classified a belt conveyor in a two manner. General material handling, which is normally used for moving boxes. We can say low low weight material. And second one is a bulky material, such as a large volume agricultural materials, grain, salt, coal, sand, etc. Okay, so another thing we will so these basically conveyors are made with the help of a few components. Normally it have a driving pulley, which we have just discussed. Then they have a tail pulley, which is non powered. Then they have a snub pulley, belt conveying idlers, also we called as a belt rollers. Then a return idler, then belt pulley. Okay, rather than discussing, I will just give you a simple example of a flat belt conveyor. Okay, so here you can see the different parts of the belt. So here it is indicated a head pulley, then primary belt conveying system, second which is a snap pulley, third one is a take up pulley, take up bend pulley, fourth one is a take up pulley, then fifth one is a tail pulley, sixth one is the return idler. Okay, so these are the main components of any belt conveyor system. Normally, we are using a belt conveyor to transmit material, right? It may be troughing type, it may be flat type. So in the diagram, we have shown a flat type belt conveyor system. So if you consider a conveyor system, we will discuss flat belt type uh, after discussing the few things about the belt conveyor. Okay, so basic advantage of conveyor system is uh, due to continuous flow, the conveyor may ensure it should be the steady supply given from the input to output. So it provides a continuous supply, and that's why we are mostly preferable such kind of conveying mechanism. Then also conveyors can transfer the material at extremely high rate. Hence, we can say that the capacity of conveyor is much higher than the other any material handling system, as as they are providing a continuous supply of material. So we if efficiency point of view or any discharge point of view, the conveying mechanisms are supplying more material. But if we consider EOT, we can carry a huge component from one location to another location. But here they provide a continuous supply as well as quantity also. Okay. Another advantage is by changing the speed of conveyor, you can change the rate of flow of raw material. It's a very important thing because the speed is also the rate of flow has to be maintained. If you increases the flow rate, it increases the material discharging rate, and in many cases it could be uh, it's not that much required. So based on the requirement of the next process or from one station to another station, if any raw material moving towards the process number one, so at that time the process is quite slow or time consuming, you should have to maintain a speed in a such a manner that so that the flow rate of the raw material should be proper. So in a such manner or in a such cases, we can use the change in speed so that the flow rate can be maintained properly. The conveyors can be started or stopped based on the very short time. It could be in the will of operator. We can stop conveyor as soon as with the minimum possible time. Then conveyor can be placed at a floor level, at a workstation level, or a higher level as per our industrial requirement. Therefore, the conveyors cannot occupy the whole space of the floor. That is very important task because whenever we see conveyor systems of EOT, it need a huge beams which can be uh, set which can be mounted over the whole uh, shop. So in such a manner it can take minimum space what you can say space which can be occupied for transmission purpose. Also, in a place like a assembly unit, the conveyor can be used as a production line as well as a material handling system. So it plays a double role over there. So the based on the application, their function is get changed or role get changed. The conveyors can be take the material to the location where the manual loading is not possible due to some extreme operational condition. For example, a furnace, automatic painting units, high pressure cleaning units. In such locations, it is not possible to go. inside the furnace and put the material, because there is a huge and high temperature. Even though in a automatic venting unit, it is not possible to go inside, because that environment is totally harmful for a human. And if we using any sunglasses or any suit, and still we are gone inside, because of that particles are continually spreading, so it covers the vision of that person, and it could be possibly some accidents may be occur. So that's why in a, such a locations we are using this conveyor system. One more and very most important thing, conveyors can be operated without operator. So as the speed and the material positions, if we set once, we just start the machine and just release it down. So automatically it can be maintain the supply. Yeah, automatically it can rotate. Okay, so there is no need of a person who specially required to watch the operation. Okay, so it can be operate without operator. Mostly the conveyor are suitable for material handling system where automation or optimization of the plant has been done. It means that without any operator, as we discussed in a just previous point, that it can be operated without operator. So that only um, start and stop, these two functions we have to maintain. And if the flow rate is a constant one, then in a single setting we can done that flow rating by adjusting the speed. Okay, so wherever the automation has been done in the plant, in that location, these conveyor mechanisms, which it means a belt conveyor or any flat conveyor, these conveyor mechanisms are very plays an important role in the properly designed and installed conveyors are very reliable in operation and require very less maintenance. Okay, so these basic advantages of the conveyor mechanisms which we need to be considered while design or while suggesting for any function, but it have some limitations or disadvantage which are nothing but conveyors can be handle the material only along the fixed route. It could not vary the route, because we have to just we have to give a particular path where the conveyor system is installed. So we could not change that path at all. So if you want to change, you have to install other things. So it quite really initially it is costly. So conveyors are unsuitable for heavy unit loads, because in continuous, if we look the picture, the rollers are mounted over there, and and above the rollers, the belt is moving. So if we are putting an heavier load, it is very difficult to transfer. So that's why it for heavy units it is not a suitable option to transmit the load. Another thing, that if you installed a conveyor mechanism, okay, but it is very difficult to, we can say, find out the alternating locations or capacity for such material handling systems. For example, look at, say, if we design a conveyor for 5 meter, then to convert this into the 10 meter will take again a design process, or again you need to add material, but the capacity, again, the parts are going to change, because we have designed a motor based on that aspect only. If you are designing again this conveyor system for 10 meter, then we have to change the motor, we have to add the material. So in short, we could not replace its capacity, or we could not change the capacity. So that is a big disadvantage of this one. One more thing, due to inflexibility, conveyors are suitable for plants with the operation that are permanent, or you can say a fixed, and considerably it required a time. So as I see in advantage, it can be used in automation system where the times are fixed, everything is fixed. Okay, in such a manner only we can use these conveyor mechanisms. Now look at the application of the conveyor system. The conveyors are normally used for continuous flow of bulk load in mining, in ports, in thermal power plants, in aeroplane, we can say airport also. We can look out for the transmission, the loads, or you can say our bags that could be happen only because only with the help of belt conveyor system. The conveyors are also used for material handling in a different industry, such as manufacturing industry, food processing industry, dairy industry, pharmaceutical industry, etc. So these are the basic industry where we are using the conveyor system. But nowadays we are using conveyor in most of the locations. Okay, so basically the types of material handling conveyor are based on bulk of material, or the parameters or variables which we could consider as bulk of material, hazardous material, loose material, or packages. So if the bulk material is there in the form of granules or cakes in a different size or shape, we could say is a bulk material. Bulk material which can be handled, such as mine coals, sand, stone, clays, cement, or power operated or sorry powdered floors, or you can say slurries. So this kind of bulk material we can handle by using conveyor system. Then about the hazardous material, if we consider explosive substances f- in in such things, or with such locations, or such explosive mixtures or substances which can use for a handling purpose. Okay, so because of that, it having some potential risk of explosion, or uh, any other thing. So that's why we can completely enclose the content, or you can say in a sealed manner, we can convey such materials through conveyor system. Then loose materials, normally you can say nut bolts, casting forgings in a small castings, small plastic parts which can be transferred or conveying in a shop floor as well as in a foundry. About the packages, the box, wooden box, drums, cartoons, such things we can convey in a packaging sections where the conveyor system is used for transmission. So as we seen the different type of conveyor system. So there are seven type of conveyor system: belt conveyor system, trough belt conveyor system, blanket belt conveyor system, open belt mud wire belt conveyor system, chain conveyor system, apron conveyor system, and screw conveyor system. Okay, so let's see with the flat belt conveyor system. So in figure you are seeing the construction and the layout of belt conveyor with the different components which you've seen over there. So once again, I will repeat the component of the flat belt, conveying belt, second driving or you can say head pulley, third one is a tail pulley, then snub pulley is there, idlers are there, then belt take up devices, then feeder unit, then discharge unit, and last one is a driving unit. So I will, in a nutshell, I will try to explain shortly these use of these each component. So belt conveyor belt are the those are nothing but a endless belt used for carrying the material from one end to another end. Head pulley or you can say driving pulley, which is coupled with the driving unit and drives the belt conveyor system. Third one is a tail pulley. Tail pulley is located at the tail end of the conveyor. The belt conveyor runs out and the head pulley with the help of head pulley and tail pulley. Snub pulley is a nothing but these pulleys are used to change the direction of the conveying belt or conveyor belt. Next one is idler. Idler are used to support the conveyor belt on a upper run as well as lower run, which is shown in figure. For upper load, we called as a normal idler or upper idler, and in a lower run, it is called as a return idler. In the belt carrying idlers, we can normally use for support, and number of idlers in upper are very are more as compared with the return idler or lower idler because the load carries by belt as well as idler can be takes place at only upper direction. In a lower direction or you can say lower run, the belt are empty and it has to be only uh, here the idle pulleys are only used to just take a support. Okay, so that's why these two different and number of idlers are varies in a upper run and lower run. Belt take-up devices are very important because it has to be maintained the tension inside the belt so that it could not be slip. So that's why belt take-up devices are used. Feeder unit is consist of a feeder and hopper, uh, which is al- uh, which is provides the um, loading the material into the belt conveyor as shown in figure. Then discharge unit is used to drive. Discharge unit is used to unload the material from the belt conveyor. And last one is a driving unit, which is used for a driving purpose. Now, about the belt conveyor, you can say a flat belt drive. It is shown in a simple way. The belt is flat in a right, in a left side top corner. I shown the actual picture of the flat belt conveyor system. Okay, so let's see the basic advantage of the flat belt conveyor system. The belt conveyor can be operated over the long distance because the most long belt can be we can design using flat belt conveyor. The belt conveyor can be easily adapted to a natural counter, or you can say it can be easily adapted the natural contours of the ground. So if the ground is plus my or can say Some variation in a level can be managed, or it can be easily absorbed by this flat belt culver. You can look at the top left right left top photo. Here the levels are get changed, but still could be managed it properly. Because of low frictional characteristics, the belt conveyor required low power for operation. Then the flat belt conveyors are light in weight and having a very simple construction, which is we are looking. Also, the flat belt conveyors, as it has a very low friction, the maintenance could be very low, and because of simple of construction, there are low number of parts are also less, so that the maintenance required for the flat belt drive is very low. Flat belt conveyor is very low. These flat belt conveyors have some limitations, such as it conveys, or you can say a flat belt conveyors display high stretchability in the under the load, because it's in a continuous use, so the stretching of the belt, so that's why the selection of the belt is very important, which is not too much stretchable. And here the take up pulley is plays a very important, which can uh, absorb that stretch and maintain the tension. Okay. uh, in the end we will see how the take up pulleys uh, how they works in this matter. Again, if we can say, the flat conveyors cannot be used to elevated in a different temperature variations. As the temperature variations occur, then there is a possibility of change in belt tension, or you can say due to temperature variation, the strength of the belt can be vary. Okay, it can be affect their strength, so that's why we normally avoid to use a flat belt drive in high temperature elevation segments. There is always possibility of slip as the stretching is occurred due to the high or heavy load. Okay, so in that constant contest we are using a take up pulley to take care of that, but it has some limitations also. The width of flap belt conveyor is limited, so we can convey a limited volume of the material. So in a nutshell, we can use belt for flat belt conveyor for long distances, and if there is a variation, or you can see uneven surface, still so we can use the flat belt. About the operation and construction point of view, flat belt is very easy or simple to construct and very easy to operate, as there are very less parts, so maintenance also required very less. Okay, so the and disadvantages, the stretching of the belt is a major issue. We could not use such belt system or belt conveyors mechanisms in a higher temperature and high weight conditions. Okay, so while selecting the conveyor mechanism, you should consider this point in your mind. Okay, next one is a troughing belt conveyor. So these are used for a high capacity, high speed, and heavily a bulky material to be handled with the large lump size. It is suitable for inclined as well as declined type of conveyors. If you look at the picture in a segment, the troughing conveyors, or you can say troughing idlers, are shown over there. In a segment B, or you can say, oh, look at over here, there are three idler belts. In a idler, sorry, in a flat belt conveyor, normally we are using a single idler, but in a troughing, we are using three, five, so more than one idler, or you can say more than two idlers are normally used, and generally it has a three or five number of idlers to make a conveyor, a flat belt into the troughing belt, to convert the flat belt into the troughing belt. Okay, why this troughing belt is very important? uh, the troughing shape we need to give to the belt. It means that we need to adjust idlers in a proper angle, which is shown by beta. Okay, so idlers can be maintained in such a manner or such an angle that it can convey or it can create a cup shape. Okay, if we consider a material like a grain, which is not possible to convey over the flat belt. Okay, so we just put over the grains on the flat belt, it start spreading over the, or it start rolling outside the belt, and it will be flushed on floor. So in such conditions, we are using such troughed belt conveyor mechanism. So as we convert is in cup shape, so it can easily provide the support to the outer area, or you can say outside material. So material should not move from center position to the outward direction. Okay, so mostly the materials are put inside the central position. Okay, so this troughing mechanism is plays a very important role to uh, this belt conveyor system. So as we discussed, there are three idlers and five idlers mechanism. You can look at in the diagram. Uh, the width of the flat belt conveyor, limited volume or limited volume carrying capacity. By giving the troughing shape to the belt, it by means of the idlers, the volume carrying capacity can be increased. Normally, the belts are made from the nylon and polyester, so that the belt are very strong and it can carry the higher capacity because it having a greater flexibility inside. Also, we are using upper coating by using cotton belts, so that the material could not be damaged. Okay, so most of the companies are nowadays using a troughing belt conveyor mechanism. Okay, look at over here. In the first one, in the first diagram, here the troughing shape is occurred by using three uh, idling idlers. Okay, so flat belt you can look at this troughing mechanism is we can say conversion of troughing idlers, or from flat belt idler to troughing belt conveyor. It can be only in upper run only. मतलब क्या है कि जो भी ट्रफिंग आइडलर्स हम लोग इंस्टॉल करेंगे वो सिर्फ अपर रन पे ही करेंगे जहाँ पे एक्चुअल मटेरियल कैरी होता है. In a bottom, it is properly flat. It is properly flat one. So you can look at over here. I just mark it. Okay. In this segment, that is upper run segment, the troughing idlers are mounted, and belt which is used belt, conveying belt is placed on that. But in a lower segment, if you observe over here, the belt are straight, so the flat return idlers are used. There is no need because at the written condition there is a no मटेरियल टू बी कैरी और वहाँ पे कोई लोड नहीं है. इसके लिए हम लोग डिज़ाइन में नॉर्मली रिटर्न आइडलर जो भी रहते हैं वो हमेशा फ्लैट आइडलर ही रहते हैं. एंड अपर पोर्शन और अपर रन दैट कैन बी वेरी, बट रिटर्न written condition or written build should must be travel through a flat running idler. Okay, that point, everyone please note it down properly. Okay, so I so there are some advantage of dropping a belt conveyor over the other. First one is the volume carrying capacity of tripping builder belt conveyor is higher than that of a flat belt conveyor because of that troughing shape of the belt. The troughing belt conveyor can be operated at a higher speed as compared to the flat belt. If flat belt operating in a higher speed, the material will be moved from the outward direction. So that's why these troughing shape is introduced. The troughing belt are more convenient for handling bulky as well as loose material as compared to the flat belt. So both loose as well as a bulky material we can easily transmit to the this conveying system. Uh, it having some limitations such as the belt conveyor, sorry, troughed belt conveyor cannot adapt to the normal contour of the grounds. So it meant that you should need a flat surface over which you are going to mount it. Then the troughing belt conveyors cannot be operated over the long distance. So you have to design such conveyor system for shorter distance only. The troughed belt conveyor required high power for operation. As we are using number of roller, there is a huge friction, and because of that it required high power motors. The troughing belt conveyors are heavy and complicated in construction, so the initial cost of the troughing belt conveyor are very high as compared to the belt conveyor. And as there is a huge friction, the maintenance cost is also very high. So these are some few drawbacks about the belt conveyor system. Okay, so I hope you have understood these two conveyor mechanisms where with the applications where we can use in our what you can say in designs. We are normally design this flat or troughing belt conveyor. In next lecture, we will discuss the other types of belt conveyor systems. Uh, remaining are banked belt conveyor, oven wire belt conveyor, chain conveyor system, and screw conveyor. Okay, so in this lecture, if you have any doubt, you can feel free to ask me by personal call. Okay, so thank you very much for joining this lecture. Thank you.